I don't know why I feel so nervous to film this. Oh god. Hi, welcome or welcome back. Today I thought it would be fun to do the booktube newbie tag. And I'm gonna say newbie tag and put quotations around it because I've modified it a little bit. I've combined some questions, added some questions, taken some questions out. Mostly because I don't like talking about myself. I'd rather on here obviously talk about books and like what I'm reading instead of me. This video has made me deeply uncomfortable for a while, but I thought it would be good to film it and kind of look back on my answers a couple years from now. For a super quick self-introduction, hi, I'm Erin, I'm 23, I'm from sunny Southern California, I've been here for most of my life, and I'm a recent college or graduate. I shook the camera a little bit, didn't mean to do that. I graduated June of 2021 with a degree in bioengineering, if that's interesting to you at all. Okay, without further ado, further rambling, let's just dive into the questions. Number one, why did you start this channel and what are you most excited about for this channel? In my real life, not that this isn't real, in my life, there is a grand total of 2 people that I can talk about books and reading with, and it's my sister and the other one is a friend from college. And outside of that, there's not really anyone I can talk to with about books. And so I don't know, just love to talk to people on the internet, strangers on the internet, about books that I'm loving or not loving, and books that I should be reading, and getting cool and interesting recommendations. So that's the biggest reason why I'm here. I would like to use this avenue, this outlet, as a way to prioritize reading in my own life because the majority of my friends, outside the 2 that I mentioned, are huge into gaming. So that's what I spend a lot of my day, a lot of my time doing, but I would like to read more. And I feel like this channel and giving myself the outlet, the option to talk about books I'm reading, books I'm liking or disliking, I feel like that's a good way to motivate myself to read. And another reason why I'm excited to do this booktube situation is because I would like to be a more articulate speaker and maybe a more concise speaker. When I speak, I tend to go on these tangents all the time, and I also talk kind of fast, so then I skip, like my tongue just like gets caught on words, and I would like to be a more intentional speaker. So I'm hoping that by talking a lot to a camera, that'll help me with that goal. What book or series got you into reading and when did you start reading? So I was in ESL in elementary school. The reason for that is because my family immigrated to the US when I was about 6 years old, and so that's like first grade, second grade-ish, and so I had to attend ESL because I didn't know English. I didn't know the language. And when I was in ESL and when I was learning English, I read so many books. In those early elementary school years, my mom would take my sister and I to the library like every single day, and we would just sit there and read or like learn how to read English. And I remember the summer before 3rd grade, I decided to track all the books that I read that summer, and I read 300 books. And granted, like most of those are like picture books. You know, like you're in elementary school, you're not really reading like chapter books yet. So regardless, I remember having read 300 books and I felt really good about myself. And I think that's when it all began. That's when my obsession with reading began. And I was a huge reader in elementary school. I would like race my friends to read the Magic Tree House. I almost said Magic School Bus, but it's the Magic Tree House series. Do you remember that? Do any of you know that? I was obsessed with the Warrior Cats series, so much so that a friend and I in 5th grade decided to write our own story, but it was like the naming conventions were heavily based off of the Warrior Cats naming convention. If you've read that series, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. And talking about it, actually, I'm remembering now that we had a teacher edit our story. Oh my god, so embarrassing. I read Twilight in 5th grade, obsessed. I thought that was peak literature. And then in middle school, I was obsessed with Maximum Ride. Any Maximum Ride fans? Oh my gosh, Fang? Fang was my first crush, like ever. I was obsessed with him. And fun fact, that was actually, Maximum Ride was my introduction to fan fiction, and I remember finding fanfiction.net when I was like 13, and it was like, there's people writing their own stories about these characters, and that's when the fanfiction obsession started. And then, like most people, I fell off the reading train in late middle school, high school, early college, and then in 2020, in my second to last year of college, I found this podcast called the Reading Women Podcast, and it got me hooked and back into reading. The hosts just recommend you amazing books written by women all around the world, and it's awesome. And I can't thank that podcast enough for getting me back into reading and reading books by women, about women. It's just, I'm very grateful for that. Next question, number 3. Why do you love reading? I mean, the same reason as everyone else, I guess. I love to be transported to a different world, to a different way of living, to a different way of thinking. I think it's just really cool, and there's not really anything else like that experience and process. And then more recently, I've begun seeing reading as a way to learn about human connections. Does that make sense? Does that make me sound like an alien? Just as a way to really understand not only the people around me, but also to understand myself and to process my own experiences in childhood growing up. So that's been a really fun and cool process. Number 4, what questions would you ask your favorite booktubers? Do you want to be friends? No, I'm just kidding. If anyone that I watch on booktube like reaches out to me, I think I would die. They're all way too cool for me, and I would just be blinded by their absolute coolness. So number 5, what challenges do you think starting a booktube channel will be the hardest to overcome? I don't think this one will be really difficult, but what freaks me out the most is having people from my real life find out that I'm doing this. Okay, can any of you relate? Like when you're public speaking or doing like a speech or something, it's really easy for me to talk to strangers and to like perform in front of strangers. But then when someone, you know, like your mom or like your friend is in the crowd, I'm sorry, like I literally would want to vomit. So it's kind of like that experience. My partner only found out that I did this by sheer accident. I did not want to tell him. I did not intend to tell him. I don't think he watches any of these. He just knows that I do it, which is like weird enough. So my biggest fear is someone from my real life learning that I do this. And maybe one day I'll be confident enough to tell them, but like for now, this is safe and private, okay? Other than that, I don't think I'll be facing any challenges. I don't really want to put any pressure on myself for anything in this realm because I just want it to be fun and I want it to be like another hobby of mine. Number 6, where do you read? Everywhere, I guess. I listen to a lot of audiobooks, so I'm usually not sitting still when I'm listening to audiobooks, so I'm, yeah, everywhere. In my car, I don't know, cooking, cleaning. And when it comes to physical books or ebooks, I'm a huge chronic binge reader, so once I start a book and I'm sitting somewhere that's relatively comfortable, I generally don't move my butt unless I'm done with the book or unless something dire is like. So yeah, everywhere. I read everywhere. Number 7, what kinds of books do you like to read? Everything except mystery, horror, thriller, because I'm a big baby and I can't handle anything scary. I used to be not the biggest fan of historical fiction, but recently I've realized that I just don't really like historical fiction when it's about US history and World War II history or fiction. I'm just not interested in reading about World War II. I just think it's so, that time period is so overdone, I guess, and I just, unless there's a book that brings in something totally new and different to that period of time or anything about that, I'm personally just really tired of reading World War II books, so I don't tend to like that kind of stuff. But yeah, generally I'll read any genre except mystery, thriller, horror because I get scared way too easily. Number 8, favorite authors. Okay, I have one author, just one, that I stalk on social media, specifically Twitter, on a regular basis. I'm talking about at least once a month. I'll pop in and just stalk her Twitter and see what she's been up to, and it's Fatima Farheen Mirza. She is the author of my favorite book of all time, A Place for Us. Nothing will ever take that book's place in my heart. That book has my entire heart. I sobbed like a freaking baby in the last part, and just all the characters, I'm so obsessed with them and I want to give them all a hug. Anyways, Fatima Farheen Mirza is my favorite author of all time, and she only has one book out, and it's that one. And I need her to write a second one. I will literally get on my knees and beg her if that's what it takes for her to come out with a second book that I can cherish and love like a child of mine. And she's really not that active on social media, so when I say stalk, I just mean I go on her Twitter and Instagram and see if she's updated anything at all. I'll take a crumb. I'll take less than a crumb. I also really enjoy Ellias Shafak's works, Neil Gaiman. I like his books a lot. Generally, I like slow, atmospheric novels where nothing really happens, but then the characters are these wonderful people that you really get to know about and follow, and you cry when they cry. Like, that's my type of book. So Neil Gaiman, Ellias Shafak, Fatima Farheen Mirza, they write books that are generally like that. So I'm sure there's other authors out there who write similarly. I just need to find them and read their books. That's all the questions that I've got for you. To end this off, why don't I tell you some of my favorite books from the last, I don't know, 2 years or so, and then you can tell me your recent favorite reads. Is that a dumb idea? Tell me if it's a dumb idea, but I'll start anyways. Okay, so obviously A Place for Us by Fatima Farheen Mirza, Last Night at the Telegraph Club by Melinda Lowe, The Architect's Apprentice by Ellias Shafak, and The Golem and the Jinni by Helen Wecker. Those are some of my faves. I think that was 5. So, you know, give me 1 or 2 or 5 of your favorite reads. Yeah, I'm really excited for this next year on this channel. I think it'll be really fun, and that's the goal. I want to have fun with this. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it wasn't too painful to watch. I would love to talk about books with you. So it's definitely dark now. Have a great rest of your day wherever you are, and I will see you next time. Bye!